Ruck. This is event number 4. So we have a 600 meter ruck run, or a fast walk. You have to add weight each lap. So females start with 15 pounds, males start with 20 pounds. So you have 4 laps being 1,500 meter laps, and you just keep on stacking the weight into your ruck bag after that. So here's the lane assignments. Right in the middle are where you're going to see your top teams. So CrossFit Mayhem, Freedom, Central Beast, Invictus Boston, they're in the middle. Kind of a surprise that's not doing so great was OC3 Black. I really thought they'd be up there a little higher, but that's how it goes. They could pick it up today. Seconds until we start. It looks hot out there. They got the big fans blowing. I don't think I saw those out there yesterday, but unless you're standing at the start or finish line, they're not going to really help you that much. 5 seconds. And they're off. So you see they have to hold the rope to stay together. So we have a 40-minute time cap on this one, so this one is gonna hurt. So we'll see. As you can see today, I'm sporting my CrossFit Conic shirt. It's a local box there in Madison. If you're in the area, I really enjoyed the gym. It's a great space. The owner seemed like a pretty cool guy. So you can see here, what do we got? JST is out in the lead. Now this first lap, I don't think it's really going to matter that much. There'll be a little bit of positioning and stuff like that, but you don't want to go too hot, kind of double meaty in this, because it's so hot out. You don't want to burn yourself out of the first lap, because the later laps are going to be a little bit harder as you start stacking the weight up. So remember, it's a 20-minute time cap. A 40-minute time cap for this one. So if you missed the standings for the team after the 3 events, we'll go in order. I guess we'll do the top 10 here. We have CrossFit Mayhem Freedom sitting at number 1. We have CrossFit Krypton sitting at number 2. I guess we call one of the super teams. Central Beast 3, Invictus 4, Invictus Boston 5, CrossFit Altaf number 6, Don't Stop number 7, OC3 Black and the Exterminators tied for 8, and Invictus X at number 10. So it's pretty interesting to see those 3 Invictus teams in the top 10 there. So just to go over the different makeups of the teams here. So I mentioned there was 3 different Invictus teams. So straight up Invictus, that's made up of Lauren Fisher, who is very notable as an individual athlete in the past. Regan Huckabee is the other female. Rasmus Anderson, a really strong guy that's been around CrossFit for a long time as an individual in the past, and Tommy Venus. who also was an individual as well. I think was it 2017, if you remember, he put on that nice performance in the max snatch event, really playing with the crowd and lifting some heavy weight, him and Elijah Muhammad. So that was but he switched over to the team event for this year. So he would definitely be one of the quote-unquote super teams. And if you look at Invictus Boston, they would be more of a more typical team, not as much as a super team with a big individual athletes. Craig Kenny, definitely a beast of a guy, did some individual stuff as well. Tolio Marquinho, the other male, very strong individual as well. And your two females are Caitlin Cassis and Kelsey Keel that make up Invictus Boston. And then for Invictus X, this would be another one of your somewhat super teams per se. Sam Dancer, he was on the team there last year. Holden Rethwell, Christy Ergamo, and Margot Alvarez. Now it looks like the feed has cut out here. Something's going on with the CrossFit feed. It'll cut back here in a second. You don't really have much control over that. CrossFit feed is best to feed out to all that. A little bit of hiccups. So let's wait for it to load back in there.
Good gap, guys. This should be easy right here.
And here, as the teams go by, there's a lot of communication there between the teams, just trying to go over strategy. Just while we're watching these guys, it's crazy on the team. There's CrossFit Mayhem, obviously Rich Fronings's team. This year they changed up the roster a little bit. There's Rich Froning and Taser Perez from last year. And just what you're watching here, and there's a little bit of confusion, is the teams, each person has to load the bag up with more weight. You can see the judge watching, making sure they put it in. You can see they're picking up the sandbags, it looks like, and adding it to the bag. So this is Sphere. That's CrossFit Krypton, so Jessica Griffith, Camille Bonpaz, Alex Smith, and Cody Mooney. So Camille was kind of the surprise one, basically, to come into that team this year. Before I stopped there, I was just going over CrossFit Games Freedom. Obviously, Taser Perez and Rich Froning were there last year. Dre Strum, he was an athlete that was in the gym for a while when he trained to be an individual, and he came up. He was the big boys in the team, and then China Chiller was somebody that they added this year. It wasn't great from the start of this year. Basically, I think it was after they first competed, maybe things didn't go as well as they wanted, and then all of a sudden, China Cho was added to their roster. We'll just go over some of the other, so right there we have Invictus X already hit on them. That's the Margot Alvarez and Christy Ermo team. There was CrossFit Alto. They were kind of a bunch of unknowns. Sorry if you think they're known, but I didn't know the names. Mia Ackerland, Sidney Kerstad, Phil Heskey, and Alexander Elbro. So CrossFit Alto, they put on a nice showing. Both of their finishes were right around the top 10. I think they had a 9th and maybe the other standing one, but they perform very well. Project X is Tom Porter, who's known as an individual athlete as well. Brandon Swan. Females are Harriet Roberts and Jessica Cochran. Most of these ones hail from Australia. Based in there. Yeah, if you didn't know, last night in the east coast of Canada, where I'm at here, we had a crazy thunder and lightning storm that blew out a bunch of transformers and power. So I was having trouble broadcasting there later in the day, but everything's back and good, so I survived that. So then, just to go over some of the other teams that we have here. Pro 1, Joe Scally basically, I think it was maybe the last workout of the Open. Joe Scally announced that he was withdrawing from the Open, because at that point he was competing to be the national champ in Italy, and he basically said he didn't want to win the national championship because basically the next place person wouldn't get his spot if he decided to go team, which he did. So he withdrew from the Open and joined this team. It was kind of a surprise personally that they qualified. Not a lot of big names, like Joe Scally would be the biggest name of them. And as an individual games athlete, obviously he made it to the games and he was competitive, but he was never somebody that fought for the podium. But their team has performed very well at the sectional, and they're looking to have peace in here as well.
How are you feeling, Chuck? Good.
Oh, God, what the fuck?
And just to go over another team, we have Team JST compete. We have Helena Collins, Jane Adey, Jack Cornwaith, and Stephen Fawcett. They've been looking pretty good so far at the games. And one little interesting thing about one of the teams being the Exterminator. So they're a team that's basically head up by Rob Forte out of Australia. But he employed kind of a different little strategy. Some other teams did it as well. But he basically used some ringers to get his team into the CrossFit Games. So when he competed and won his sanctional, it was himself, James Newberry, and he also had Maddie Stewart on their team. So James Newberry and Maddie Stewart were individual athletes, and they were placed there basically to make sure that exterminators made it to the games. Now, by doing so, he lost his alternative. So if one of his other teammates got injured, so basically after you got your invite, you had 7 days to set your roster. So once he had his roster set and everything like that, if Zeke Grove went down, he wouldn't be able to replace him with anybody else. Now, other teams kind of use this strategy as well. Team JST that I just mentioned, they use Sam Briggs basically to help qualify them for the games. In CrossFit Krypton, they use Jamie Green, who's doing very well at the games this year, to help qualify them, and then they placed it with placed her with Camille Blancpazinet. So it'll be interesting to see if next year if they change or tweak that anyway. But I think it's fair. Basically, you're making sure you get to the games, and you can only change out two people, And then you also take the risk, like I said, if somebody getting an injury, then not be able to place it, then you'd be out of the games as well. And the teams are loading up their bags, so every lap they have to add either 7 or 10 pounds, basically different from the man to female, and then they go out for another run. In OC3, that was a team that I was kind of surprised about. Every year they fight and they perform very well. And I thought this year would be the year that maybe they make it to the games. They're made up of Andrea Nestler, Taylor Williamson, Joe Piranti, and Luke Schaefer. And what I said about this earlier in another video is I felt that OC3 Black was a true team. They didn't bring in a lot of basically superstars to kind of rig it. Luke Schaefer being maybe the biggest name per se. But yeah, they're just not doing as well. And there's CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. They looked a little bit of confusion there. Usually Rich Froney has his team pretty well oiled, but they're having no problem there. Can you just imagine running under that heat today? Like I said, they had those big fans at the start, and then that's once you're out on this tarmac, running on the pavement and stuff like that, you're really feeling that heat. Your feet are going to start to burn as well. You see guys here trying to rehydrate as they run. So here's Team JST from New England. Like I said, they had Sam Briggs help qualify them. And this is their second appearance at the CrossFit Games. What other team did I not go over yet? Don't Stop. Don't Stop was definitely a team that I felt would be near the top. And there's still a lot of competing to do. They came in with Travis Williams, just a personality I really like in CrossFit. A really nice backstory about him losing a lot of weight, getting fit. He wasn't one of these type of guys that came in as a kind of like an elite athlete already and transitioned from another sport. He was somebody that started CrossFit to get in shape, and now he ended up at the Games, which is basically for CrossFit. It's a great story as well. So anyway, he had Roy Gamboa as the other individual male on his team, as long with his two females, which I kind of thought were going to be their strong point of Jen Smith and Alexis Johnson, very capable females, individual athletes as well. So there you can see CrossFit Mayhem Freedom running. So I kind of think what they're doing here is you see Rich Froney at the back with Taser Perez. In this strategy, you could go two ways with this. You could have your slower runners in the front, so then that you're kind of pacing off them, or you could put your slower runner in the back and they basically get kind of the lift if you pull them along on the run. So there's Sam Dancer's team. So that's Wesley Rethwall, Margot Alvarez, Christy Ermo, and Sam Dancer with his massive quads and cool headband. So it's always like seeing Sam Dancer. He's a fun guy to watch. So right now, if you want to look at the standings, how everybody sits, we got Team JST in first, Invictus X in second, and nice to see OC3 Black making a charge for third place there. Invictus, CrossFit Krypton, Pro 1, Don't Stop, CrossFit Vogelboom, and Mayhem. So we're getting close to halfway through the time cap. So this is 40-minute time cap. Right now we're at 18 minutes and 30 seconds. So these guys are into their third lap. So it looks like most of these guys will complete this. Sorry. So remember last year, Invictus X, they were a podium team. They had Sam Dancer as well, Wesley Wethrall, but also Sam Dancer's wife. I think it's Jen Dancer. Sorry if I'm wrong. She competed with them as well, but this year I think she broke her foot or a bone in her foot, so she was not able to compete. And so Sam's team, Invictus X, started out with Sam Dancer, Holden Wethrall, sorry I was saying Wesley before, Marg and Christy Marimo, and then one of the other females had to be removed from the team due to a drug issue. So Margot Alvarez stepped in and they qualified again to come to the CrossFit Games. Margot Alvarez on the team. There's one of my fellow judges there. Me being Sergeant No Rep, the greatest judge never judged. This guy here, he's actually judging, using his craft. So they're going to come back into the stadium here. They're going to load up their weight. So it looks like, I think the timer chip somewhere's at the start there. So JST is in first. And they're going to go now load up again for their final lap. It looks like they got a good sizable lead over Invictus X. Now, with Mayhem Freedom sitting down in roughly 9th place, you'd like to see them kind of start pushing their pace. There they are back there. And if you look at them right there, the team in the front shot there was CrossFit Krypton, sitting in 5th place, and Mayhem Freedom wasn't too far behind them in 9th place. So if they start pushing on this last lap, you never know. So here comes Invictus X into the stadium.
Invictus.
Going on 3 teams adding in that weight around the same time. They've been well on their way. Invictus X trying back Invictus, so they're putting on their backpacks and there's Invictus X.
Invictus X still hold on to second. OC3 or Invictus, who's going to take third? Right now it's Team Invictus. Invictus now holding on to third. OC3 struggling with their bag. Weight and close it. Again, strategy key, how you distribute that weight.
Here we go. We see Mayhem Freedom loading up their bag again, trying to zip their bag up here, having a little issue. So now here's where, the judge, he's a tough guy there, saying zip up the bag. So I guess in theory your weight could fall over. So here's the importance of transitions, because as I mentioned earlier before this, Mayhem was 3 teams behind Krypton when they were coming up to the stadium, and now leaving the stadium they left ahead of them. So we'll see how these all shake up for the leaderboard here. We'll have to wait for our first checkpoint, and we'll get some adjustment in the teams. So basically, as we sit now, going into the last lap, Team JST, they pretty much have this wrapped up, barring something crazy. Their split time in that last lap, they were a minute ahead of Invictus X. Invictus X then was closely followed by OC3 Black and Invictus. Then there was a little bit of separation between your Krypton Pro 1 Freedom and CrossFit Alto.
I like go for it, Tim.
And just to throw in a little plug there for myself, if you're watching this on YouTube, we'd really appreciate it if you gave this stream a like and maybe subscribe to my channel. Like I just uploaded a video for an update on the leaderboard, and I'll always throughout the year have different CrossFit related content, so I'd appreciate that. And if you're over on Twitch, just give me a follow. Both of those are free, it doesn't cost you anything, and you'll get notifications for when I go live with the different events or throw out videos, and I greatly appreciate that. So if you missed it earlier, there was an announcement for the workouts and stuff. So basically, the individuals will be doing basically the same thing here. They're doing their events called the Ruck. It's a 600-meter Ruck run, the weights increasing each lap. So you go from 20 for the females, you go from 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, and the males actually have the same weight at 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds. Again, same concept, increasing each lap. Athletes will run 4 laps over the 1500 meter course, adding weight each lap. Time cap, exact same, 40 minutes. So it'll be good to gauge the time cap off these teams, the individual. You can kind of draw some comparison to that. And that's the only event so far today. So the second day of competition we have for the individuals so far.
Not really.
There's Invictus X. And there's Team JST as well. They're coming around. So they're going to wrap up this event and they'll get their 100 points.
Right here.
And as we sit right now, if you're wondering, we don't have the next event of the teams announced. This event's not too bad of an event to have to start your day out with. It's just a heavy run. A lot of these athletes would do weight vest runs, and they would have done a ruck run like this before. Other years there was just different variations of it. The harder one was when you had to carry that stretcher. That would have been really tough on the shoulders, but in this one your shoulders aren't going to get lit up and burned up as much. So here's Team JST coming into the stadium, looking good. So now they'll probably jog down to the end of the finish line. JST compete, they've come in at right around the 29-minute mark. So here's Invictus X, they're going to enter the stadium here now. So that's a nice showing for JST, who sat currently in 13th place. So this 100 points will help jump them up a little bit. Hopefully they'll get into the top 10. This is Invictus X. Invictus X, they currently sit in 10th place. So these are some points they really need. It's a team that should have been maybe a little bit more competitive for the first 3 events. Now this is the big one for Mayhem Freedom to watch out. Invictus, they sit number 4th. So these points will be good to get over with CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. So they really want some other teams to come between them. So here comes OC3 Black, who's currently tied for 8th place. So these will be a nice little addition of points for them as well. Hey, Terminator Lance, how are you?
Next up are leaders rocking the white leader jerseys. Put your hands together for CrossFit Mayhem.
So obviously CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, they were sitting in first place coming to this event. And they did basically what they had to do here. CrossFit Krypton was leading them the whole entire race until that last lap, and they were able to pass CrossFit Krypton, who was in 2nd place. So it's good for them. So we'll keep them away. So Project X, they don't really, in the end of the week, they probably don't factor into podium or anything like that. It's Com Porter's team. They sit currently in 12th place.
CrossFit Bundle Gym chasing down CrossFit Krypton, but Krypton gonna cross that line.
So we said CrossFit Bongo Gym, they sit in 14th place. CrossFit Krypton, they really fell off the map. Coming into that last lap, they were sitting around 5th place with Mayhem Freedom behind them. Now they let Mayhem pass them, get those points. They really needed to beat CrossFit Mayhem Freedom and have a couple teams finish in between them if they wanted to creep up that leaderboard. Because currently there's a 63, before the scoring sorted out, there's a 63-point gap between the two of them. So now the gap's just going to be widening even more. Once you start getting over that 100-point gap, it's not looking good for recovery. Here comes Don't Stop into the stadium. Yeah, Terminal Lance there. If you're wondering, so basically we had age group stuff earlier in the day. Then it went to the team here, and then we'll get into the individual ruck. So it'll be the individual version of this that will come up next. Basically, the individuals will have a ruck bag. They'll run their laps, and each lap will add more weight to it. 40-minute time cap, just like this. And that's the only other events that's been announced for the individuals and the teams, and more will be announced after that. But there is a schedule throughout the day. So basically there's events leading up till now until later, depending on your time zone. Basically around supper time, wherever you're at, we'll have the final events in the Coliseum. there's the central beast. I still haven't found out exactly who's that crazy bearded man. I love his beard. We'll grab a glass of water there. Media guide there, and I found out who the bearded man was. That's Joseph Tortola from the United States. He's been to regionals before. Was in 18. In 18 he placed 12th. In 17 he placed 11th. 16 did not compete. 15 doesn't compete. And 2014 was 31st. So like I said, I think these massive fans here were an addition over yesterday. So here's the interview with the winning team.
And you guys were leaps and bounds in front of some of the other teams, even on that very last lap. You clearly are a group of very strong runners. So what was going through your mind this morning when you first heard the announcement on this event?
Yeah, I mean, after yesterday, we were just praying for some running, some long-distance running. And then when they announced it, we was confident that we knew we could do well. So the plan was just go out quite hard on the first 2 laps, and then just kind of ease it off a little bit to finish off.
That's impressive. I think maybe not a strategy that everyone can keep up with for 4 laps. Speaking of hoping to hear something specific in that announcement, how has it been for you guys so far, not knowing what any of these events are going into the weekend?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. Usually, 1 or 2. But I mean, the unknown's good. It's a little bit different, and keep you on your toes.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, guys. Nice work.
Thank you.
So there we have event 4 results from Great Britain, Team JST, Invictus X, Americans, Invictus in 3rd, OC3 Black 4th, CrossFit Mayhem in 5th, Project X, Pro 1, and CrossFit Krypton. So the biggest thing here, we were watching for CrossFit Krypton to get ahead of Mayhem Freedom, which they were for 3 laps, but they kind of dropped at the end. So that point separation between 1st and 2nd, if Krypton holds on to 2nd, is going to get a little bigger here now. So basically we have another 20 minutes now until the individual event number 3, the Ruck, the same pretty much event. Yeah, and thank you there, CrossFit Games, for throwing the schedule. But as you can see on the screen right now, we have another 20 minutes or so until the individuals come up. So it's going to be this pretty much the exact same workout. It's kind of interesting. I don't know if I've seen this before, but the men and the women have the same weights for the Ruck. So it starts off with 20 pounds, and the next lap you put it up to 30, next or next lap you go up to 40, next pound lap you go up to 50. So I would have expected basically the weights to be a little different, as in like the workout yesterday, women were snatching 130, the men were snatching 185. But it's nice to see that. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. Clearly, you could see it was hot out there today. But pretty much everybody finished under the time cap, and I expect that now that the field's been narrowed down to these top 50 men and women, a 40-minute time cap should be all right for these individuals. So I'm just going to leave this feed up here for a bit. I'm going to grab some water and something to drink. I'll be back just a little bit before that. So it's another, now I guess we're down to 18 minutes before the individual event stops up. So if you need to go get something to drink yourself, or do a little more, if you're watching at work, do some work so the boss doesn't get on you, and we'll talk to you then.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games here in beautiful Madison, Wisconsin. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the colors by members of the Madison Police Honor Guard, followed by our national anthem as performed by local musician Al Falashi.
Mark time, march. Detail, halt. Left, face.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep that applause going for our flyover conducted today by Rock's 88, flying two mighty 238 talents from Euro-NATO Joint Jet Pilot Training Program at Shepherd Air Force Base, Texas, representing CrossFit.
I'm not an American, but I must say it's still pretty cool to hear the national anthem and see jets fly over. It always gets the blood pumping. So you can see on the field there, this is where the individuals will run in and load up their bags. You can see all the different little sand
God damn. Oh my God.
Okay, so as you can see, the athletes are starting to funnel out here. If you didn't know what this event was, you can see here the athletes are wearing one of those Ruck bags. It's the exact same as the team competition that just took place. It's called the Ruck. Try not to mess that one up. But basically, the individuals are going to do laps around, I guess the grounds you would call it. They go in the stadium, out of the stadium, and back in. When they come back into the stadium, they need to fill up their Ruck bag with a 10-pound pack. So they start out with 20, they move up to 30, 40, and then 50. The men and the women have the exact same weight. And they're running, the distance that they're running is 6,000 meters for the whole one, and that's 4 laps of 1,500 meters with a time cap of 40 minutes. So let's wait till the rest of the athletes funnel out here. So you can see there's the standings after 2 events. It's really cool to see Ben Smith up there sitting in number 4th place right now, being somebody that just accepted his wild card this week. That's pretty neat to see. Obviously, he was ready. We'll see how the knee and the conditioning holds up over the course of the weekend. He was set off, basically his training was a little delayed due to a minor surgery he had on his knee. So unlike the other big broadcasters out there who are sponsored by Noble and Fit Aid and Zevia, all great products, but me, I'm sponsored by a reusable water bottle with purple flavoring. If you want that, you can use my product code down below. Basically, you just fill up your tap water into a reusable bottle and you put some purple color in it and you're good to go. If you want to pay me a lot of money for that, I'll gladly take it. So there's the event on the side, individual event number 3, the Ruck, 6,000 meter Ruck run. Same weight for the men and the women. As you can see, they're going to run at the same time. It's an easy event that they can get everybody on the field. It's always nice to see that. I think it was when was it? It would have been the last year that they were in California when they went to the ranch and they did the run. Watching Sam Briggs basically blow by a ton of the male individual athletes. That was pretty cool to see. Maybe a little humbling for them, but all for girl power. There's some Sarah Beastmos, Matt Frazier looking good in his shades. $10 seconds till we kick this one off. So this would be, if Sam Briggs is in good form, this would be a good Sam Briggs type of workout, you'd think. And on the men's side, every workout's a good Matt Frazier workout. There's Matt Frazier. You can see him. He's closest to us, wearing the white shirt and the red shorts. And for the females, the female should be dressed like that. It should be Carrie Pierce, who's the leader right now. It's kind of hard to pick her out in this mass of people. So this actually, now we're seeing Cole Sager. This definitely would be a Cole Sager type of event. You remember when they had the event there last year, pulling the guy that looked like Bob, Pat Bellner down the field. Cole Sager did really well at that event. So I expect him to excel at this one as well. So basically, as we sit right now, this is the only event that we currently know for the individuals today. This year has been a little bit different, and I enjoy it where we don't know as much about the workouts. The athletes haven't been able to plan as much for them. And in case you missed it at the start there, the leaderboard, we'll go through the leaderboard for the men and the women. Right now, I'll do the top, let's say, 15 to get all the big names in there that we want to see. Starting at 15, we have Cole Sager. Really expecting him to be a little higher up than that, but like I said, it's only been 2 events. We have Brent Bukowski sitting at 14th, George Sterner 13th, Carl Gudmundsson in 12th, Jonah Koski in 11th. Nice to see him. This is kind of his comeback this year. Logan Collins in 10th, Travis Mayer in 9th, Jacob Hepter, kind of a comeback to the games for him as well. He's sitting at 8th. Samuel Curran, he's at number 7th. Noah Olson at number 6th. It's a good placing for him. Usually he tends to make a little late surge, and in the past couple of years he's kind of faltered at the end, so I'd like to see him get up into the podium. Patrick Feller sits at a healthy 5th place. Ben Smith, amazing to see him in 4th. James Newberry, I would say a surprise, no disrespect to James Newberry, but if you would have said James Newberry was sitting 3rd after 2 events, I would be a little surprised about that. Scott Panchik, definitely somebody that you expect in your top 5, sitting in 2nd, and Matt Frazier obviously in 1st. When we switch over to the women's side of things, we'll do the top 15 as well. Carolyn Reason-Thibault from Canada in 15th. Danny Spiegel in 14th. Courtney Haley 13th. Catherine Davis' daughter, kind of a surprise, down in 12th. Alessandra Pacelli, sometimes Canadian, sometimes Italian. She's sitting at 11th. Jamie Green in 10. Laura Horvath, it's nice to see her sitting in the top 10 at 9. Amanda Barnhart, one of my picks to be on the podium, sitting at 8. Danielle Brandon, kind of a surprise at 7 from the States. She won event number 2, so that's why she's sitting so high. Another nice surprise at number 6 is Haley Adams, who trains out of CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. A lot of times she subs in with Rich Froning and her team. She's only 18 years old. She's won the teens events here in the past. There's looks like that Cole Sager there. Tia Claire Toomey up with a lot of the men. So number 5, we have Brooke Wells. It'd be kind of nice to see Brooke Wells keep that up. Kristen Holte at 4. Tia Clear sits at 3. Annie Thor's daughter, maybe a little bit of surprise, even though she's always in the top 5. At number 2, and Carrie Pierce, our overall leader after 2 events. So you can see over in front of the men there, that was Jason Smith. I think he went out kind of hot among the other events too, but kind of died off. So we'll see how Jason can keep this up. He hails from, I think it's South Africa. So here's Matt Frazier. We're coming 5 minutes in. So if you remember, these athletes are doing, what is it? You got 4 laps in a 40-minute time cap. They're doing their first lap in roughly 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So it doesn't look like, as long as these guys keep this pace up, there's no concern. So there's head judge Boz telling the guys to slow down. They want people to fill up their weight packs near the start when you come in. So you just heard the announcer mention Lyndon Layton. He won the event last year. Now, I think the swim was kind of the big part of it, but he won the event last year that involved the swim and a run. So this might be up his alley, maybe to kind of surprise some people in this one.
6 minutes in. There is Matt Frazier. He's going to come up with a catch. Lucas Holmberg. There's Tia Claire Toomey in with the fellas. She's only one in booty shorts over there. You'll see her in those white shorts.
I think the individual they're showing there is, I'm going to say this wrong, but Gasper Gellermark, European. He's a rookie at the games here this year. Nice to see him make it through the couple cuts. I think he sits, 25th currently. Kasper Gellermark out of Denmark, age 28, tall athlete at 6 feet. There he is again with his would have been nice if the rucksacks had I think that's Sam Briggs you can see in the middle of the screen there with the ponytail up high. It would have been nice if the ruck bags had maybe their names in bigger letters on the back. I don't think they have anything there. I think it probably just says Ruck. So basically, if you're looking at the leaderboard, the overall standings, people that you'd probably want to see for the men that are making a big push would be kind of your Brent Fikowski, who's sitting down in 14th. Maybe I'd say a Cole Sager as well, sitting at 15th. You'd really want to see him do well just to push himself up the leaderboard. Of course, Matt Frazier, he's going to feel this one out. He's got himself probably, a 14-point lead there currently. So he'll want to see where Scott Panchik is and make sure Scott Panchik doesn't pass him. There's Tia Claire. She's running with some of the male. Looks like right in front of her is Noah Olson.
Thank you very much, Dan. Yep. I got a video guy, a slider.
So we're coming up to 9 minutes and 50 seconds of a 40-minute time cap. I really don't expect there to be much issues with the time cap here in this one. So you can see this athlete, she's fooling around. I think, is that Catherine Davis' daughter, fooling around with the adjustment of the bag. So you can adjust the straps to, if you want the weight to sit up higher on your back or sit down lower, and depending on where you have it placed, it will fatigue different parts, maybe your shoulders or your lower back a little bit more. And also running, it's not a good running form, but running, holding onto those straps kind of, again, leave some of the weight. And you'll see a lot more fiddling as it goes. There's Chandler Smith right there, coming into the middle of our stream right now, the active military guy. He came out and came in second in event number 1, kind of slipped off in event number 2 with a 48th place finish. But I'd really like to see Chandler Smith, who sits 18th on the leaderboard. I'd love to see him as a rookie at the games, being who he is, an active military guy, push up and maybe get in the top 10. That'd be pretty cool. He's kind of becoming a fan favorite as well. Very humble guy, but shows a lot of emotion as well when he's on the field of play. So right now, in first place, we have, as the announcer just said, Lucas Holmberg sitting in first, Wietrup in second. These names are going to get me. Penix in third, Jason Smith in fourth, another Smith in fifth, and James Newberry in sixth, Willie George is seventh, and Matt Frazier in eighth. And we look over at the women, so we have Tia Claire Toomey leading the pack for the women. The next notable is Catherine Davis' daughter in third place, Jamie Green in fourth, Kristen Holte in 5, and again Haley Adams in 6. It's nice to see Sarah Singer's daughter. She's sitting in 7th right now in this event. So when you look at the splits here, Lucas Holberg and Wietrup, they came in, let's see, roughly, I'd say about 20 seconds ahead of Matt Frazier. So not really a time that Matt Frazier couldn't make up. It'd be interesting to see if he really pushes himself, because his big thing is to stay ahead of Scott Panchik, which he currently is. Looks like Pat Velmer's down in 16th place right now after the 2 laps. Brent Fikowski 21st. Bill Morad 28. Cole Sager, which I'm surprised is at 29. Noah Olson at 30.
And Sam Briggs. So 1, Tia Claire Toomey, 2,
Ben Smith, I see he's not having the greatest one. He's down around 30, 40. But we have Scott Panchik at 43rd. So Scott Panchik really needs to pick up the pace if he wants to maintain that top 3 on the leaderboard. For the women, like I said, we got Sam Briggs now moved up into second. Tia Claire in first. Kristen Holte, Catherine Davis' daughter. Let's go down the leaderboard. Carrie Pierce, who's currently in first. She's in 13th, so it's not too bad. She'll want to start pushing it. Brooke Wells, Laura Horvath is in 19th. Annie Thor's daughter, who's in the top of the leaderboard now, is sitting at 20. So she's really going to have to start pushing herself as well. Actually, 23rd. She's dropped down a little bit. And there's Carrie Pierce. So you can see Tia Claire has already left the stadium a little while ago. So if this stays right how we're sitting right now, we could see a shift at the top of the leaderboard, as Tia Claire and Carrie Pierce are currently separated by under 20 points, so right around, I think it's 16 points right now. There's a shot of Tia Claire again, who's still maintaining her sizable lead over everybody else. Just to let you know, between her and Sam Briggs, their split time on their second lap, they're currently on their third lap, is roughly about 15 seconds. So when you think about running and trying to make up 15 seconds, that's a pretty decent time to make up. But the bigger thing is between Tia Claire and Carrie Pierce, who she's chasing, we're looking at around a 45-second difference that Carrie Pierce would have to make up. So Carrie Pierce at the end of this event may be giving up her white leader shirt and her red shorts. It looks like Tia's on the hunt to get it, as the one that's above her, between Carrie and herself, is Annie Thorsdottir. And Annie Thorsdottir is currently roughly, if I look down the list here, I think she's around like 31st. So a little bit out of it. You can see Matt Frazier's just sitting comfortable there. He's in 8th place. You got Willie Georges in front of him, James Newberry, Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith sitting in top 5. With his military background, this would be right in his wheelhouse. In the military, you do a lot of rucksack runs and stuff like that. Somebody that I would expect to do better, and I think we just saw him putting on a little bit of a charge there, was Jacob Hepter. This would be right up his alley, I think. So we'll see if Jacob Hepter can push the pace a little bit and get himself into a top 10. He's currently sitting 12th. And there's Lucas Holmberg, looking good, looking comfortable. That's the thing in this type of race you want to see is how their stride looks. He's starting to break down, but he looks like he's in a comfortable place right now. This is important for Lucas Holmberg because he really needs some points to start moving up the leaderboard if he wants to start doing well. As he currently sits in 24th in the overall, having a 39th in the first event and 18th in the second event, so this is something that he would really need. So if you look at the Lucas Holmberg, take a second to break him down. If you look at his rank in the Open of the last 3 years, so in 2017, he was 26th in the Worldwide Open. 2018, he was 90th, a little bit of drop-off. And 2019, this year, he was 21st. He also qualified, I guess, to the national champion as he ranked number 1 in Sweden. So if you look at the games last year, obviously, I guess you wouldn't say he was a complete surprise, but having been out of CrossFit for a year, in 2018, Lucas Holmberg came back and he placed 3rd at the games, getting a bronze medal. Like I said, 2017 he didn't compete. In 2016 he competed and got 14th. So he wasn't a complete unknown, but he was going for a year there. So a lot of these individuals now are out on their 4th and final lap. Nothing really changed. When I'm looking at the men's standing, we still have Lucas Holmberg in 1st, Wittstrup in 2nd, Chandler Smith in 3rd. So Chandler Smith made a push. He was sitting at 5th, and he's moved himself up to 3rd. I'd really like to see him keep that up. Jacob Hepter creeped up a few spots. He's sitting in 9th right now. And if we switch over to the women here, Tia Claire obviously still in 1st. She's keeping about the same gap she currently held with Sam Briggs. Sam Briggs in 2nd, Kristen Holte in 3rd, Rolf in 4th, and Katniss Davis-Daughter kind of made her push up. She's sitting in 5th right now. Haley Adams is still in a really good respectable spot at 7, and Sarah Signesdatter is making a little bit of a push at 8th. And Jamie Green, who I thought Jamie Green would do a little bit better at the running, she's sitting in 9th right now. Again, Sergeant No Reps live feed is brought to you by Tap Water with Purple Coloring. And I guess to be professional, I should have a shoe brand. So this is brought to you by Reebok CrossFit Nanos number 2.0, a classic version in the gray and blue color. So it looks like Briggs now has caught right up to Tia Claire, so this should be interesting coming into their final lap here. So if you look at the official chip times for those, Tia Claire came in 1 second ahead of Sam Briggs, sorry. Wolf was pretty much the exact same time. Kristen Holte was 1 second the difference. Haley Adams has moved up a little bit now to 5th, so the Captain Davis daughter moved up to 6th. So there's a lot of jockeying in the women's side of things. The men have still pretty much stayed the same, with Lucas Holmberg in first, with a sizable gap between him and Wittstrup, and then there's even a bigger gap of almost 30 seconds between Chandler Smith, and then Matt Frazier sitting in the pack, probably about 45 seconds behind the lead, with Willie Georges, James Newberry himself, Jason Smith, and Hepter's right on their heels. I do not know what language that was being spoken, but I'm guessing Bravos. He was saying, "Good job, good job." Look at that great commentary by the Sergeant himself. So there's Matt Frazier with Willie Georges, French national champion, just in front of him. He was already qualified at the French Throwdown, but he had a nice showing there as well. I can't make out who's walking there on the course right now, but she would be being lapped by these individuals right now. There's Chandler Smith. So this athlete here, again, she would not be in her final lap. She would be completing probably lap 3. And all these people that are passing them. It looks like is that Hepter there? It looks like Hepter is now past Matt Frazier. That's an interesting one there. And like I said earlier, I was expecting Jacob Hepter to do well at this event. So it looks like he was saving it for the last lap. So he's moved himself, looks like probably around 5th place. So Lucas Holberg will be coming into the stadium for his final sprint to the finish. And it doesn't look like anybody's going to be close to him. Depending on what jockeying is going around, Wittstrup would be this next one, and I don't see him in this shot here. Like I said, Lucas Holberg, 3rd last year, had kind of a disappointing first 2 events, so this would be nice for him to jockey himself maybe up in the top 10, so we'll see. So this should be a good finish with the looking forward to Willie Georges, James Newsbury, Matt Frazier, and Jacob Hepter, that group. We should see a sprint to the finish. Here comes Chandler Smith and Wittstrup, so they'll probably have to sprint to the finish. There you go, Wittstrup coming in 2nd. Oh, sorry, that was Chandler Smith and Upinkus. You have to imagine after all that running with 50 pounds in your back, how difficult that would be actually to pick it up and sprint. Oh, there's Matt Frazier. Matt Frazier comes in. Matt Frazier finished about 5 seconds ahead of Jacob Hepter. So as we sit right now, we have Lucas Holmberg in first, Wittrop in second, Penkis in third, Chandler Smith in fourth, James Newberry fifth, Matt Frazier in sixth, Jacob Hepter seventh, Willie George eighth, and Travis Mayer 9, and Jason Smith 10. So we'll switch over to the women here. They should start to be coming in soon. So basically from the last splits there at the stadium, we should have a close race at the finish. So you can see there's Sam Briggs, who I expected to do well at this. We have Tia Claire. I think that's Rolf, and yeah, it's Rolf right there. Sam Briggs. Sam Briggs looks like she's laboring a little bit. There's Claire Toomey and Krista Holte. I would put my money on Holte for this sprint, but we'll see. That's why we do this, to figure out. And Sam Briggs is really starting to labor behind. She separated herself. So. And yet she could be just playing, but at this point you don't want to slow up too much, because that sprint, you need to be close. It's only a short sprint for these type of athletes. So it looks like who we got? Looks like Wolf maybe pulling away. Yep, that's Wolf. Tia Claire behind her, Krista Holte. Now the key here is not to put those burners on too early. If you put those burners on too early, the last 25 meters or 50 meters, you're done and you're going to catch. So my money is on Holte, so let's see what happens here. I think these two will catch up. Oh, Rolf is still starting to pull away. No, Tia Claire's coming. There's Holte. So it's going to be a close spit. Come on, I want to see a photo finish. Oh, Rolf's going. I think Rolf's going to get it. There's Tia Claire and Kristen Holte. So it looks like it's going to be Rolf, Tia Claire, and Holte. It was not really much of a sprint, but it's maybe more of a fast jog to the end there. And Sam Briggs coming in fourth. And let's see if Haley Adams can get herself in there. So right now we only have 4 females that finish. Rolf, Toomey, Holte, Briggs. Oh, it looks like Catherine Davis' daughter is coming into the stadium. So she will get 5th place in this event as long as nobody catches her from behind. And you can just tell by how these guys are. Oh, Ben Smith's coming in. So let's see. Ben Smith, where does this place him?
At the second pylon, and he will finish just ahead of Panchik.
So that's Ben Smith's 39th, and Panchik looks like he's going to be 41st. So this was a rough event for Ben Smith and Panchik, and there's the younger Panchik, who looks like we're going to have to send out medical aid for him at Saxon Panchik. So the leaderboard is definitely going to shake up on the men's side, with Ben Smith and Panchik having bad finishes. And on the women's side, you'll probably see Tia Claire jump into first place. So we have Bethany Shadburn coming in. 8th, looks like Sarah. That was a nice finish there. Bethany Shadburn and Sarah Signesdottir. So Sarah Signesdottir's going to help herself a little bit. And poor Carrie Pierce, she looks like she's in rough shape here. She should be able to get herself a top 15 finish here, but definitely she'll be dropping out of the top 3, maybe even the top 5 with this type of finish here. Here's Carrie Pierce coming to the finish. You can see she's really struggling with that run. Her legs are feeling that. Ooh, look at the legs just buckle as you get to the end there. There's Andrea Pacelli. Kind of looked like Saunders running across the finish line, who did not compete this year due to pregnancy. Kyra Saunders, that is. So Brooke Wells came in 14th. Carrie Pierce in 13th, Amanda Barnhart 15th, Pacelli 16th. So there'll definitely be a little bit of a shake-up on the leaderboard. Locked out. You have Annie Thor's daughter there that was really struggling with this run. I forget, was it Murph in the past that she had? I think it was Murph in years past when this was still in California that she had some trouble with the run. It was kind of like the same imagery there. But this is going to really affect Annie Thor's daughter, who sat in second place. Because currently right now, as you look at the women finishers, we're down to around 32, 34. So she's going to come in around maybe 35, 36 in this event. And one thing to remember about this, and I don't think Annie Thor's daughter is any, oh wow, she's looking rough, is any fear of this, is that 10 individual athletes will be cut after this, so they're at 50 right now, they're going to cut down to 40 after this event. So Annie Thor's daughter, who was in second coming to this event, she has herself a little bit of a cushion now, so she doesn't have to worry about it. I would like to see her push it a little bit. So you can see Annie Thor's daughter now coming into the stadium. Everybody's here to cheer. She's always been a big fan favorite. So let's see if she can sprint the whole way to the end. So it looks like now she's fighting for 41st place. Doesn't think there's anybody coming up behind her. So what are the notables? Like, she would probably be one of the last notables to finish. The females that still haven't finished that are on course would be Meg Reardon, Haley, Colleen Romano, Trombetta, Bosman Henrich, Christo Faru, and Flinchman. We're coming up on the 5-minute mark left. It's a 40-minute time cap. It looks like a good majority of the athletes will finish it. I'm guessing that last shot, I didn't make out who it was. She's walking around. She probably won't get in here in 5 minutes. But there's only a few females left on the course. Roughly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left on the course. And according to CrossFit's official site there, it looks like all the males have come in so far.
5 minutes until that time cap, athletes. 5 minutes.
So that was Bosman that you just saw come in. This is Flincham that's about to come in. It's after Flincham here comes in. We have Dahlstrom, Trombetta, and Christo Furu will be the last 4 to come in. And just to recap what happened here, so number 1, it won't really affect the overall standings much for that, but Wolf was the winner. Number 2 was Toomey. There's Cole Sager congratulating people. Kristen Holta in 3, Sam Briggs in 4, Catherine Davis daughter in 5, which she really needed. Haley Adams in 6, which I was pretty excited to see. If you jump down to 9, we have Sarah Sigma's daughter, and if you jump down to 13th, the overall leader coming into this was Carrie Pierce, and she got a 13, so she's going to drop out of that first place spot. And looking over at the men's side, we have Lucas Holmberg in first, Witchup in second, Penkus, we're making it higher than me in the top 5. Number 3, Chandler Smith in 4, which is nice to see. James Newberry holding on strong. We got a 5th place finish in this. Matt Frazier in 6, Jacob Hepter in 7, Lloyd Georges in 8. If you jump down to 13, you got Bellner, 14, Fikowski, Mundwilder in 16. Noah Olsen was kind of surprising, and at a 24, a Cole Sager, I would say even more surprising, at a number 27. So I'd like to crowd cheer these ladies in to get under the time cap. It looks like they're going to do it. So this is Krista Furu and Fincham. Look at the sprint. It's good to see the last 2 sprint like that. They might pay for it. The little right of the legs are going to cramp right up. That was nice to see. So up next we'll have this athlete will not make it under the time cap here, I don't think. She's got 2 minutes. We'll see if she can do it, though. The next event will be a team event, and I think it's called the Strongman, what was it called? Team Strongman Sphere. So that will be 132-foot handstand walk, a worm lunge, 132-foot handstand walk, a big bob march, 132-foot handstand walk, and a snail push. So, and this cuts down to 11 teams after this. This is the team event, Strongman Sphere. And just note, all 4 athletes may handstand walk at the same time. Handstand walk must be completed in those 44-foot sections. If you drop down within that 44-foot section, if it's the very last, you have to go all the way back to the last line. And that's what this next thing says. Athletes must restart from the last section completed if they come down at any time. The snail contains 700 pounds of sand, preventing it from gaining momentum. So that will be the next event. I'll have a time for you that in a second there.
Seconds to go.
I don't know what was going on there. I don't know if the judges just go back and verify that all the proper weights in the bags. Looks like they were looking into Carrie Pierce's bag, but they'll probably do it to everybody. Another 15 seconds down to the cap. That's Cap coming up there now.
First event of day 2 of 2019 Reebok CrossFit Games.
So that was the third event of the 2019 CrossFit Games. There's the winner there, Rolf. They'll probably have an interview with here in just a second. Tia Claire came in second, so I think after this we'll see Tia Claire jump up into first place, and you'll see Carrie Pierce and Annie Thorsdottir drop quite a bit on the leaderboard due to their poor finishes on this event. So here we go to the announcement.
All right, Emily, in an event like this where it gets harder as you go because you have to keep adding weight, how do you find the energy to pull ahead toward the end?
So I just tried to stick up to Tia, stay on her back the whole race, and hopefully see if I had a better kick at the end.
You definitely did. Now, this is your first time here at the CrossFit Games. Given the fact that we don't know what any of the events are, basically up until the moment that you do them, how's the experience been for you so far?
Oh, awesome. I'd rather not know. I'd rather go in blind and just hit it right away, yeah.
Why is that?
Just don't need to stress about it. Yeah, we're all doing it anyways.
That's good advice for everyone. Congratulations here this morning.
Thank you very much.
Event number 3, Emily Rolf. I kind of agree with her. Like, sometimes these athletes can probably overanalyze everything, so not knowing the workout beforehand, they just come in and they put the training to the test. So Emily Rolf first, Tia Claire Toomey in second, Kristen Holta in third, Sam Briggs fourth, Katrin Davis-Daughter in fifth. She really needed this. Haley Adams is going to maintain her good spot on the leaderboard with a 6th place finish. Carrie Beamer in 7th. Bethany Shadburn won her sprint to the finish against Sarah Sigmundsdottir. So it was nice to see. So there's Lucas Holmberg, the males winner. So I think they'll probably give a little interview here with him. But this is a strong finish for him, something he really needed to propel himself up the leaderboard as we go into event number 4 after this.
This is a new experience for you. You just found out about this event right before you did it. How did that change it for you?
I just tried to take every workout at the time and not focus on the big picture. Like yesterday was a bad day for me. So I just had to recover, stop thinking about it, and moving forward. And that's what I did.
You can go recover in the shade.
Yeah, thank you.
So there's the standings for the men after this event. This is not the overall, it's just for the event 3. So Lucas Holmberg first, Joshua Witchup in second, Euditis Upenkis in third. Nice to see Chandler Smith in fourth. James Newberry in fifth, so that will keep him up the leaderboard. Matt Frazier in sixth. So as long as he finished ahead of Panchik, that was kind of the big thing, which he did. Then we have Jacob Hepter, who had a nice, he was probably down in 12th or 13th, going to that last lap and pulled himself up. Willie George is from France in 8th, Travis Mayer in 9th, and Jason Smith rounding up a nice event at 10. So after this, we're going to go into the team event number 5. That will start in, I think, roughly 15, probably like 13, 14 minutes. It's called the Strongman's, let me pull it up here, I think it was the Strongman Sphere. And I just read that off. Yeah, Team Strongman Sphere. So we have handstand walks, a worm lunge, handstand walks, big bob march. And you see coming on this snail push that's filled with, I think it was, they said 700 pounds of sand. So that's going to be hard to push down the field. Not going to be much momentum with that. So I'll go silent here for the next about 13 minutes or so. And we'll be back on for that team event. Okay? We'll see you then. Okay guys, we're back here at the 2019 CrossFit Games, and this is team event number 5. So what we're looking at here is the Strongman Sphere. This is team event number 5. 4-time, you have 132-foot handstand walk, 132-foot worm lunge, 132-foot handstand walk, 132-foot big bob march, 132-foot handstand walk, and 132-foot snail push, which is done in pairs. That snail is filled with 700 pounds of sand. So it's not like water or something like that that may get some momentum. This is going to be sluggish and hard to get down the field. So here's your lane assignments for heat number 1, CrossFit Boulder Boom, Project X, CrossFit Invictus, OC Black, Exterminators, Pro 1, and Team JST, who did very well on the prior event. They're up first. So there's Invictus. We got Sam Dancer, Margot Alvarez. They're kind of the big names for that one.
Stand by.
So as you see, the athletes will have to kick up and do a 132-foot handstand walk. If they don't make it to the line that you can see them all approaching, they have to, like, so that's individual right in the middle there. He fell down, so now he has to go all the way back to the start and redo it again. So the key is to make it to that line, kick down, rest a bit, and keep on going. You'd be crazy if you try to do 2 sections at once. There's no real benefit to it. The race is not going to be won if you can go unbroken. The race is going to be won or lost by if you fall down a couple times, have to keep on going back. That's what's really going to hurt you. So kind of a staple of the team event, and what I'd like to see when Mayhem gets there is the worm and how well you manipulate that as a team. A lot of time makes and breaks your CrossFit Games. It all depends, I guess, how often the worm shows up, but it's definitely something if you're not used to using this implement, like some teams that are maybe newly formed, and not so much nowadays, but some teams wouldn't touch the worm until they went to regionals or the games, and that'd be a huge mistake.
You got it right in the center, marching their way back down.
So currently right now in first place, and I mentioned this in videos before, we have OC3 Black in first place. They are a team that work together a lot of times. They're a very well-oiled team. They had some poor events to start off, but they're in first place, followed by Invictus X, CrossFit Boulder, Project X, Pro 1, the Exterminators, which I'm kind of surprised to see down there, and JST.
To finishing this worm lunge first. 16 cash. Let's get this money in the game.
OC3 Black has kicked up now for their first handstand walk back. So basically, if you haven't got the gist of this, you handstand walk down the field, pick up a strongman implement, bring it back down the field, and then handstand walk back up to get your next ones. So we had OC3 Black coming in first so far. In second right now we have Invictus X starting their handstand walk, followed by Pro 1 is going to kick up next.
Also right there with him. Looking to keep him feet on the second place. But right now, you said it. It's really relaxed. They are marching along, Larry. We can have the bomb sled.
T3 Black is still maintaining their lead. This is the big bob that showed up in an earlier event, but that time you were pushing it with the handles. This time you're pulling it, which is kind of a totally separate movement. So right now we have OC3 Black in first, followed by Invictus X. They're the next one on the bob sled pull type of thing. Pro 1 is next. CrossFit Vogelvy, Exterminators looks like they're in fifth place. Project X and JST. And you can see up on the screen, it goes OC3 Black and Invictus X. They were tied for a bit. Then Invictus is behind by 1 rep. So what they're counting there for like the 1 rep is that one section that OC3 Black completed as a team. So once they complete the section here that they're about to, they should pop up to be 2 reps ahead unless Invictus finishes theirs right behind. So as you can see, OC3 Black is now 2 reps ahead, which is that 2 large portions of the handstand walk marked out by the white line.
Looking to finish their final 44-foot section of the handstand walk.
And you can see some of the teams really struggling pulling that the bob down the field. It's definitely no easy task. So remember, this is only heat 1 of 2, so a lot of the top teams will show up in the next heat. But definitely these like OC3 Black who wants to make push up the leaderboard will want to set a time that will be competitive. So they're not just fighting against the teams in this competition, which they do have quite a sizable lead over Invictus X. So you can see as they're pushing this snail, it's done in pairs. So you can sub out, sub in whenever you want, as long as you get the snail down the field, being pushed by 2 people at a time, you're good to go. OC3 Black has almost pushed that snail. As you look back down the field, it doesn't look like anybody. I think Invictus X might be just getting the snail down the first section there now. In this right now, what I would be doing if I was this team, I'd be subbing out a little quicker, just get some fresher legs in there and a sub out right away. Let the other guys rest for a second. Oh, they want to keep them in their same lane. Oh, they got it finished. There you go. So OC3 Black with a time of 10:36.04 will now have the time to beat for the second heat. The second heat will have your teams like CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, CrossFit Invictus. They'll all be coming up in that second. There's 3 Invictuses out there, but you'll have, because you have Invictus X here, but you'll have CrossFit Invictus. You'll also have CrossFit Krypton. It's a very competitive team. They'll be coming up next as well.
Snail moving, having all of their competitors across the line. We've got a handstand walk. Invictus X. About halfway over the final stretch. As we approach 12 minutes on the clock.
So you can see there's quite a gap between the different skill levels in the teams here. Some teams are still on the snail, as Invictus X just finishes at 11:53. Dancer's team.
Digging deep, trying to finish up. Strongman Sphere, the amplified, number 1.
So if you missed the last broadcast with the individuals, there was the individual Ruck challenge. So just to give you an update of what happened there. Emily Rolfe from Canada, she finished first in that event, followed by Tia Claire Toomey. They were all kind of bunched up coming into the stadium, but Rolfe kind of had that little bit of gas left in the tank. Third was Kristen Holte. Number 4 was Sam Briggs. 5 was Catherine Davis' daughter. 6, Haley Adams. 7, we have Carrie Beamer. 8th, beating out Sarah Sigma's daughter, was Bethany Shadburn. And then 9th, Sarah Sigma's daughter. And in 10th, Karen Fernova. And Carrie Pierce, who was the leader coming into that event, she finished in 13th place. That was on the women's side. On the men's side, we have Matt Frazier winning another event. Oh no, sorry, I read that wrong there. We have Lucas Holmberg, winning that event. Joshua Wittrup in second. Eudidius Upenkis in third. Chandler Smith. A really nice race by Chandler Smith, just slowly creeping up, and he finished 4th. Followed by 5th, James Newberry, and then the overall leader coming into that event was Matt Frazier. He finished 6th. So definitely the top of the leaderboard will change a little bit. They haven't calculated and updated it yet, but Matt Frazier was in first place, and he remained in first place. Scott Panchik, who was in second, I think he came in somewhere around 40-something, so he's going to drop. James Newberry had a solid finish, getting fifth, so he'll stay up around the third. He might move into second. We'll see how it all shakes up. Ben Smith, who was in fourth, he'll drop down a little bit. Patrick Bellner, he had a 13th finish, so that won't be too bad. He'll hover around the same spot where he's at in fifth. Noah Olsen will drop a little bit, probably getting a 24th finish. In seventh was Samuel Curran. He had a 42nd finish, so he's definitely going to drop. Jacob Hepter, who sat in eighth, you could maybe see him move up a spot or two with a seventh finish in that event. So once those are updated, I'll let you know. So about 1 minute remaining here before the teams finish up. Being a 60-minute time cap there.
Make some noise, Madison. Let's cheer them on. They are very close to the finish line. And we are very close to our time cap. 30 seconds. Just feet away. 20 seconds. Keep it up, Madison. Keep it up. Let's cheer them on. That motivation is what we need to cross that line. 10 seconds. They will cross the line.
At the end of that heat. So I don't know what happened to, we'll see what happened to JST. Looks like they weren't able to finish that event. I don't know if somebody got hurt or something like that, but they basically didn't make it past the first round. So I'm not sure what happened there. If somebody hurt a shoulder, they weren't able to do the handstand walks. So that's where it kind of looks like they capped out. It was that going into the second round of the handstand walks. So the field's just going to reset here, and then we'll bring out the second and final heat with the big names you're looking for, your Mayhems, your CrossFit Invictus, your CrossFit Krypton, all coming up. So that will be just probably a couple minutes here. So there's your placement OC3 Black Invictus X, CrossFit Vogelbom, Pro 1, Exterminators, Project S, and Team JST compete. They got capped out. They actually didn't get into the second round, so I'm not really sure what happened. Well, once I find out, I'll let you know what happened there. So you can see everybody's resetting, and heat number 2 is coming up, and that's going to be probably in about, looks like 9 minutes. And props to all the volunteers out there that are moving all this stuff back. It's not like they unloaded some sand out of the big snail. Now, mind you, they have 4 people pushing it. But these are just volunteers out there on a hot, sunny day, moving these implements around, give themselves a pretty good workout. So we'll just go silent here for the next 9 minutes until heat number 2 comes back, and I'll be back then. Okay, guys and gals, we're back here for heat number 2, event number 5. So you can see there's the standings after 4 events. We have CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, CrossFit Krypton, Invictus, OC3 Black, Central Beast, all there in the top 5. So there's Don't Stop coming in. And if you're just joining me now and you didn't see the first heat, here's the workout. It's on the screen there, as you can see. 4-time, 132-foot handstand walk, 132-foot worm lunge, 132-foot handstand walk, big bob march, handstand walk, snail push. So basically, the athletes are going to handstand walk up the field, get one of the strongman implements, and then take that down the field. So the worm be the first one. Then they're going to handstand walk back up. They're going to get the bob they pull, and then handstand walk back up. And then they're going to get the snail, which is filled with, I think it was 700 pounds of sand. So it's not like you're building up a lot of momentum. So here's your lane assignments for Heat 2, CrossFit Altoth, Invictus, CrossFit Krypton, Mayhem Freedom, Central Beast, Invictus Boston, Don't Stop. So how they always do it is the middle lanes are always your top teams, like Mayhem Freedom right there. You can see the girls in the white leader jerseys. And just before we go into that, the leaderboard has updated. So going through the men, Matt Frazier still sits in first place. We have a new second place competitor being James Newberry, which is kind of surprising to me. He's a good athlete, but I didn't have him to be on the podium. Jacob Hepter, nice to see him up there in third. Travis Mayer 4, Patrick Vellner in 5, Chandler Smith, a fan favorite, in 6, Noah Olson 7, Goodmanson 8, Panchik, who dropped quite a bit, down 9, and Brent Bukowski in 10. Now switch over to females, see if I can get this done before this takes off. We have Tia Claire Toomey back in first place, Christian Holte, Kara Pierce dropped down to 3, Haley Adams in 4, Brooke Wells 5, Katrin Davis daughter 6, Amanda Barnhart 7, Laura Horvath 8, Carolyn Reason Thibault 9, and Alessandra Pacelli in 10th. And kind of notable, Amy Thor's daughter dropped to 14th, and Sarah Sigmund's daughter is down in 18th. So we'll see if they can climb back up the leaderboard. So what you're watching here is the 132-foot handstand walk. So what the athletes have to do is obviously stay up on their hands until they get to that white line that you see. Once they hit the white line, they can kick back down and take a rest. But if you fall right before that line, you have to go all the way back to the start of the section. So Froning had no problem going through his handstand walks. He will rest, wait for the rest of his team to come. And it's good pacing just at the start. No sense to rush too much here in the handstand walks. The key with the handstand walks is just to complete them without having to go back. So you can take your time a little bit on that, because where you're going to really lose is if you kick down or fall right before that line, you have to go back and do a whole other section, so that could really affect you. So there. Krypton's going out first.
Josh, you're right about that, but they have two teams to their right and left who are also starting that lunge. Invictus is on the move as well. We got the Central Beast and Mayhem.
So CrossFit Krypton, that's kind of, I guess you would call the super team. It's up on the screen there. Jessica Griffith, Camille LeBlanc-Basnet, your former champ in 2014, Alex Smith, Ben Smith's brother, and Cody Mooney make up that team. Now, obviously, it's only early. You can see that CrossFit Mayhem Freedom is making up some time there. I expected them basically to lead this from the start. When it comes to the worm and stuff like that, that's where Froning's teams always seem to excel, and he's catching right up to Krypton there. So, on the way down, it'll all become who's better at those handstand walks. And the worm, the worst place basically to be is at the front. That tends to be the heaviest. You can see most teams are implementing having a male up there, and a lot of times it's like one of their stronger males. So you see Rich Froning leading the pack with his team. Cody Mooney was holding the pack with his. Alex Smith, who's the kind of gymnastic freak in a good way, he just started the handstand walks. You see him just flying up the field there. And one thing you have to be very careful of here, and I'm sure teams have planned it, is when you're kicking down, when you get to the white line, is that you don't kick your teammate coming up behind you. That would be just terrible. So there's Alex Smith and Cody Mooney there. Now, and again, there's no big rush for those males to burn out their arms and get way far ahead, because you can't start the second part until your whole team gets there anyways. So they can take their time and take a few breathers. There's Mayhem. You see Rich Froning just step back. He's waiting for a little bit. Looks like Teza Perez is kind of the one that's fallen a little, or no, that's China Cho falling a little behind. Teza Perez just finished up there. So this next part would be the Big Bob March, as they're calling it. We saw the Big Bob earlier, and they were pushing it with handles. This time they're going to pull it with a rope, which kind of changes the physics of it. And I think makes it maybe a little bit harder. So they're going to be pulling that down the field, and they'll handstand walk back up and grab the snail at the end. So you can see Mayhem Freedom is just waiting on China right there. Once China crosses that line, they'll be good to go. If you're watching this obviously on YouTube or Twitch, just give me a follow or a sub, and it'll pop up in your notification feed or anything like that for when I go live with other events, and that's the easy way to do it. Oh, Mayhem Freedom's motoring down the field. They're really catching up to Krypton there. You see at the top of the screen was Invictus, who's in third place currently. You may get confused. There's three different Invictus teams. There's Invictus Boston, Invictus, and Invictus X. So Invictus is the one at the top of the screen, is Lauren Fisher, Regan Huckabee, Rasmus Anderson, and Tommy Venus. So it looks like CrossFit Krypton. Looks like they passed there at get the whole sled on the blue. So now they'll kick up and do their handstand walks. And CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, they're just getting to the finish line. The men are, but they have to pull the whole sled across before they can switch it up. So they're taking a little break. I'm kind of surprised to see them break here. Looks like we have a little bit of a stutter here in the feed coming from CrossFit. Let's see what's going on there.
Meanwhile, over there are leaders in black and teal. CrossFit Krypton. Their second 44 section. Kyle and Alex awaiting their female teammates, Jessica and Camille.
7.5 minutes in. You see the athletes kick down after their cross. That white line
10:36. The time of the round from OC3 Black. Camille getting across that line. We're at the minute marker. Jessica trying to close it out for Clifton China Show, the anchor for CrossFit Mayhem Freedom. Jessica gets it behind the line, and Clifton starting to push that 700-pound worm across that field. Mayhem Freedom right behind her. So China was ready to switch. Go, go, go.
There's CrossFit Krypton, followed by Mayhem and Invictus right behind them. That -1 that you see indicates that they're one section of the field behind the team. So as you can see with the snail, it weighs 700 pounds, and it takes, you're only allowed 2 people to push at a time. So they're alternating in and out who goes in. There's no set order that it has to be. So this is going to be a close race here. We have Mayhem Freedom and Krypton. They're pretty much about, what, 5 to 10 feet of the difference between them right now. So nice. Next push will be Rich Froney. I'd like to see how he does here. He's edging to get in. We'll see if Rich kind of puts on the afterburners. Oh, they're closing that gap. I know a little bit of it's the camera angle, but they definitely have closed that gap. Now let's see if they can get the win here. They're into the final section going down the finish line. I'd like to see Rich. Now Rich should probably sub out here. Oh, he's still going. He's still going. He probably should sub out. Oh, they did. Sorry, I missed that. Dre Strum's pushing. Now Rich wants back in for the final push with Taser Prez, who's a very strong. I think they're going to take this. Oh, yeah, they got it. Look at Rich go. Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, this is going to be a close one. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. There we go. Mayhem Freedom. You run to the finish line. They took the event. That was a nice comeback. CrossFit Krypton, a nice finish for them for second. But Mayhem Freedom was behind the whole entire time. And Rich Froning really, you notice him, he took a couple long sprints down the field with Taser Perez, who's a very strong girl in her own right, and they were able to take the first place finish. And Krypton, another great finish, which will keep them right in the hunt for that podium.
We still have 2 teams inching closer to the finish, Central Beast and Invictus.
I'm sure Invictus would like a similar upset as their athletes swap out their male-female pairs. What Central Beast looks to have it.
So we have about 5 minutes till the cap. I think by the looks of it here, all teams should be all right. You can see all the teams going straight to the ice buckets and those massive fans down in the end zone. So there's Invictus finishing off. Looks like Anderson was a little pissed at their effort there, but it was a good effort.
One team doing what they can with that 700-pound snail, pushing, grinding it out. Handstands happening for CrossFit and Young.
We are at the 12-minute marker. 4 minutes remaining.
Don't Stop, led by Travis Williams. They're coming across the finish line. So Invictus Boston, that's still out there, and CrossFit Althoff. CrossFit Althoff kind of started the weekend off hot. They kind of fizzled a little bit. They're still right up there though, looking good. This Boston coming across the line. Still a minute 30 till the time cap, so looking good there. And that's CrossFit Alto. It looks like a lot of their other implements were getting in the way of them pushing that across, and they have to now run to the finish area. So everybody finished that in the second of 2 heats, so we'll get the final standings, but CrossFit Mayhem Freedom is the winner. So we'll have some interviews. So we got an interview coming up. 10 seconds coming up here. Rich Ford, you can see he had a good, he's excited. That's a big win for them because they were behind CrossFit Krypton the whole time. And here's the interview.
Guys, it was you
CrossFit
and CrossFit Krypton right next to you in the end, and it looked as though it came right down to the transitions. You were able to move quickly and smoothly and get ahead into the finish faster. What do you do to drill that communication amongst one another and make sure that that's never an issue for you?
I just think we know each other and how much, like, what certain strengths and weaknesses of each member of the team is, and so it helps to know when somebody's hurting. You can kind of talk to each other and let each other know what's going on.
Definitely. Now it's been 3 events on day 1, 2 on day 2, all of it out here in the hot sun. How are you guys feeling? How are the bodies holding up given these events so far?
We train really hard, and we train hard for this, so we feel pretty good.
I think we know that about you guys. Nice job so far. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
There's the results after event number 5. CrossFit Mayhem Freedom, CrossFit Krypton 1-2. OC3 Black, who was in the first heat, came in 3rd. Central Beast Force, Invictus 5. Invictus X was 6. Don't Stop 7. CrossFit Vogel Gym was in 8. Pro 1 from Canada in 9th. So next we have the individual event number 4. That coverage begins at 13:09. So we'll be coming up here in roughly, what are we looking at, 20 minutes now. So just for the next 20 minutes or so, I'll have this muted here for me. I'm just going to grab something to eat and drink. So just check back in 20 minutes. The stream will still stay up, and you can do some work if you're finishing off your workday, and we'll see you back then.